Good evening, everyone. And now we're back. We're live once again. Welcome to another Let Review session. For this evening, we'll have episode 11, Prof. Ed po. Katatapos lang ng ating Gen Ed kanina. Thank you for those nag-join sa Facebook Live. Ngayon, we'll have episode 11 ng Professional Education naman po. And for those who are still interested in joining our review program, so yung enrollment ay open pa po siya for Prof Ed and Gen Ed group. Ongoing pa po yung ating enrollment. You may message the Facebook page Study with Reg to join our review. And we will close the registration po soon. Ayan. Okay, mention niyo po yung mga kaibigan ninyo, teachers. Yung mga friendship ninyo dyan. Yes, top notcher soon, LPT soon. Yan yung maganda, no? I-manifest po talaga natin iyan. Good evening. Hello, teachers. Alright, sige. So, mag-start na po tayo. Recorded po itong session na ito and will be uploaded as premiere sa YouTube channel. Pag hindi nyo po ito naabutan sa Facebook page, do not worry. I-upload naman po siya sa YouTube channel for siguro sa mga susunod na araw, no? Okay, sige, we'll start. Question number 1. Which domain of educational technology is primarily concerned with the production phase? A. Development. B. Design. C. Management. Or D. Evaluation. Domain of educational technology. Number 1, ano ang sagot? Number 1 pa lamang po. Domain of educational technology. Production phase. Saan pong domain ang production phase? Please write the number and the letter of your choice. Number 1, nakikita kong sagot, letter C. Are you sure? Sure na sure? Oh, may letter B then with question mark si Ma'am Che. Marami ang letter C. Final answer? This is letter A. Ayan, number 1 pa lang, ligwak na. Wala talagang pumili kay letter A. Nako. Alam niyo, teachers, ang common na feedback ng mga nag-take na ng exam, wag po kayo ma-discourage kasi most of the time, yung question number 1, mahirap po talaga siya. Totoo yan. Feedback yan, no? Ng mga nag-take na. Unang tanong pa lang, question number 1, hala, hindi mo na alam. Huwag ka ma-discourage. Alright? Huwag ka ma-discourage ganyan. Sinasabi ko na lang to sa inyo. Baka ma-experience nyo soon. And huwag kayong ma-discourage kapag unang tanong pa lang ay mahirap na for you. May the rest of 149 items pa naman. Kung number 1, nahihirapan ka, sige. Proceed to the next na 149 items. Huwag kayo ma-discourage, ha? So, number 1, walang pumili kay A. Ligwak agad. Development. Development ang tamang sagot. Now, we have here 5 domains of educational technology. We have here the planning phase, that's the design, and then the development, utilization, management, and evaluation. Ang tanatanong production phase, 'di ba? Nandito si production phase. Number one, I mean, ang una, no, design. Pag-design, that's the planning phase. Sa production phase, that is what we call the development. That is why that is our answer. And then, yung the utilization na po, gagamitin na, that is action phase. And then, ima-manage mo ng mabuti, managing phase. And panghuli, we have here the evaluation, which is the assessment phase. Pag panghuli na, no, nag-evaluate ka na, nag-assess ka na. Number one, this is letter A. Sana po natuto, naligwak, pero natuto naman. Number two, the teacher immediately tells students which answers are correct and explains their mistakes. Which Gagne event is demonstrated? Gagne's event of instruction. 9 po yon. Na-memorize niyo na po ba yun, teachers? 9 events of instruction ni Robert Gagne. The teacher immediately tells students which answers are correct and explains their mistake. Ano tawag natin dito? Number 2. Ayan, bumawi sa number 2. Sabi ko sa inyo, mahirap ang number 1. So, pagdating sa actual day ng exam, wag na wag kang ma-discourage pag nakita mo number 1 pa lang, nahihirapan ka na. Kasi, sa susunod ng mga items, babawi ka naman. Okay, so provide feedback. That is correct. 'Di ba? Yan naman ang ginawa ni teacher. Kinorek niya yung mali ng students. Inexplain niya kung bakit mali. So that is immediate na feedback and that is positive, no? That is maganda. Immediate ang feedback. All right. So ito yung sinasabi kong 9 events of instruction ni Robert Gagne. Yung GERP PIPA E. O, ano ba yung GERP PIPA E? GERP PIPA E. GERP, Peppa, Peppa Pig, GERP Peppa E. Okay, gaining attention. Okay, zoom in ko lang. Gaining attention, informing the learner of the objective, and then R, no, recall of prior knowledge. O, nilagyan lang dito ng stimulating recall of prior knowledge. And then after that, you present na the information. You provide guidance. Siyempre, no, facilitators po tayo. You elicit performance. Provide feedback. Pagkatapos mong mag-feedback, mag-assess ka, no, ng performance. And panghuli, ang enhancing retention and transfer. So, remember the GERP PIPA E. The 9 events of instruction ni Robert Gagne. Next, number 3. A limitation in performing an activity because of the impairment. Ano tawag natin dyan? Disability, impairment, gifted, or disorder. Number 3, this is what we call disability. Pag limitation na in performing an activity, disability. I think this was introduced sa episode 10, right? No, sa previous natin na episode. Yung ating special education, that's the type of educating individuals via accommodation, modification, and individualization depending on their individual differences and needs. Then you have the LSEN, that's learner with special educational needs. PWD, persons with disability. Yung gifted naman po, people who have an IQ of more than 120. Yung mataas po yung IQ nila, gifted ang tawag dyan. Accommodation, giving minimal assistance sa ating learner with special educational needs. Pero, same task pa rin for everyone. Dito na sa modification, changing some parts of the task to help our learners. Pag individualization na, completely changing na the task para mag-address siya depending on kung ano yung need ng ating learner with special educational needs. Dito sa impairment, 'pag sinabing impairment, any loss or abnormality of psychological, physiological, or anatomical structure or function. Halimbawa, hindi siya nakakarinig ng maayos. Oh, so since may problema sa kanyang hearing, yung hearing niya na problem, that's the impairment. Dito sa any restriction or lack of ability to perform an activity, so hindi na siya nakakarinig, no? So, nahihirapan siya, no? Restriction na or lack of ability to hear. That is disability already. So, ang reason kung bakit may disability, dahil merong impairment. 'Pag pinag-usapan natin ay handicap, resulta na ito yung experience niya po, the result when an individual with an impairment cannot fulfill a normal life role. Hindi niya na po kayang i-fulfill yung mga life rules sa buhay, yung socially expected para sa kanya kasi meron siyang impairment. So, result na din siya ng kanyang disability. So, very technical ang mga terms na ito. Ang tinatanong dito, limitation in performing an activity because of impairment, that is disability. Pero pag disadvantage niya po, no, disadvantage dahil sa kanyang disability or dahil din sa kanyang impairment, kapag disadvantage experience, that is handicap. Okay, disadvantage experience, handicap na po. Halimbawa, hindi siya lakad sa hindi siya makakaakyat or baba sa stairs dahil may problema siya sa kanyang legs. Handicap yun. Kasi experience niya yun, no? Disadvantage na experience. That is handicap. Okay, number 4. Who is the prime mover of the educational wheel in the teaching learning process and education? Is it the learner, the teacher, ang parent ba, or administrator? The prime mover. Ayan, nakikita ko mga nag-comments. Same people pa rin simula kanina sa ating Gen Ed na session. Tapos na yung Gen Ed session natin kanina. So, Prof. Ed na naman ngayon. Ang galing, no? Itong mga taong ito, I'm pretty sure sila din yung magbabalik soon sa ating page and sa YouTube channel. Kasi kayo yung magiging licensed professional teachers very, very soon. Malapit na, ilang days na lang. Number 4, letter. Ayan na, iba na yung sagot ng iba. May nag-A, may nag-B. The correct answer ay letter B. Si teacher ang prime mover, hindi po sa learner, hindi ang parent, hindi ang administrator. Pag sinabing prime mover sa teaching learning process, si teacher ang ating sagot. 'Di ba si teacher naman ang facilitator? Sabi dito, the teacher is considered as the element that has the main role in the teaching learning process. He or she is considered as the so-called prime mover of the educational processes. Thus, he or she directs the flow of the whole process and served as a main control of the teaching learning process. Si teacher ang prime mover, siya po ang nag-facilitates sa whole process of learning. Next, number 5. This type of response asks students to write the correct answer instead of selecting it. Ano po itong type of response? Constructed, selected, product, or performance? Number 5. This is constructed. Very good. Walang sasagot ng B ha, kasi nga sabi dito, write the correct answer instead of selecting it. Oh, of course, hindi ka sasagot ng selected kasi nga walang selection. So, constructed response test po ito. Yung fill in the blank, yan yon. Ito yung constructed response. Yung enumeration, mayroong short answer, Students create their own answers instead of picking from a list of choices. It includes short answers, fill in the blanks, math problem steps, long essays, and iba pang mga common formats niya. Eto. Alright, number 6. The term assessment is derived from the Latin assedere, which means to set beside. Assessment is the process of. What is assessment? Number 6, ayan, very good. Marami ang sumagot ng letter O. Wait. Yeah, marami pala ang sumagot ng letter B. Pero meron ding sumagot ng letter A. Oh, very good ang mga sumagot ng letter A. Marami ang sumagot ng letter B, pero ligwak po kayo. Oh, ang mga naunang nag-comments kasi letter A, ang mga sagot nila, and then someone followed letter A also. But then, may nag-umpisang sumagot ng letter B, tapos nag-letter B na po sila. Letter B is wrong. Letter A po ito, gathering evidence of students' performance. That is assessment. Ano kaibahan ng mga terms na yan? Ito, tandaan natin. Yung test, that's the instrument na ginamit, no, to measure any characteristic, quality, ability, or skill or knowledge. That's the instrument, that's the test. Now, pag sinabing measurement, yan na yung process of quantifying the degree to which someone or something possesses a given trait. Yan yung pagbibigay mo na ng score. Halimbawa, ang score ay 37/50. That is measurement because you are giving a quantitative value. You are assigning a degree, no, to which someone or something possesses a given trait. Yung quality niya, characteristics, or feature, part pa rin yun ng measurement. Quantifying. Si assessment, dito na, no, the process of gathering and organizing quantitative or qualitative data into an interpretable form to have a basis for judgment or decision making. That is why gathering data is letter A na correct answer natin. Gathering evidence of students' performance. Ang letter B, designed to provide information that will help us to make a judgment about a particular situation. O, ano yan? This is evaluation na, a process of systematic collection and analysis of both qualitative and quantitative data in order to make some judgment or decision. Kapag nag-judge ka na, nag-decide ka na, pumasa ba or bagsak, pasado ba or bagsak, that is evaluation. That involves judgment about the desirability of changes in students. That is evaluation na. Pag-assessment, gathering and organizing. Pag-measurement, quantifying. Kapag referring to an instrument na ginamit to measure any characteristic, that is test. Alright, sige, tandaan po. Next, number 7. Teacher C is interested in finding out if her literature students have mastered the writers, the literary works that correspond to them, their countries, and the genres of literary work of their literacy work. Which test is most appropriate to evaluate this? Sino mahilig dito sa literature? Kabisado na ba ang mga ngalan ng writers? Yung mga pen names po nila or pseudonyms? Yung mga sikat nila na akda? Yung bansa kung saan po sila galing? Yung genre ng work nila, na-memorize mo na ba? Ano gagamitin mo na test? Matching type. Very good. No, ima-match-match mo, matching type. ang ngalan ng writers, tapos dito naman sa gilid yung mga works nila or mga ngalan ng writers, then dito naman sa gilid mga bansa kung saan po sila, no? Or genre nila. So, we will use matching type. Next, which purpose of evaluation distinguishes it from measurement? Oh, ayan. Ano po ang kaibahan ng evaluation and measurement? Oh, ano ang purpose ng evaluation that distinguishes it from measurement? Number 8. Oh, ang bilis magsagot ha. May number 8 na. May nagsagot na ng number 8. Number 7 ko lang yun kanina. Tapos may nakita na akong number 8. Okay. Number 8, may D, may C. Si Ma'am Ella, naiyak na lang. Nahihirapan na. C or D? May nag-C or D dito sa ating comment section. Yan lang yun ang kaguluhan ng taong bayan. And the correct answer ay letter D. Letter D, evaluation. Ano sabi ko kanina pag evaluation? Oh, meron kang decision. Interpret measured performance in terms of certain acceptability and sufficiency standards. Acceptability, pasado ba or bagsak? Pag pasado, is it advanced level ba na pasado or average lang or ano lang siya, low level lang pero pasado pa rin? So merong standard. So you will interpret, you will judge. That is evaluation. O bakit naging moral and ethical ang mga sagot ng iba? Anong kinalaman yan? Number. Okay, anyway. So, pag measurement, that determines how much or assigns a numerical value, di ba? Sabi ko kanina, yung score, for example, 85/100. Yan, that is measurement. May score, may quantity, quantifying. Sa evaluation, mag-interpret ka na. Interprets the measurement. O, eto, 85/100. Anong interpretation mo? Anong evaluation mo? Pasado. Kasi 85/100, 'no, pasado ang score. So, your evaluation ay pasado siya. That determines whether the performance is acceptable, sufficient, satisfactory, or successful based sa established na criteria mo. Okay? No, that is evaluation. Pag mag-interpret ka na. Number 9. A student receives a score of 68%. The passing standard is 75%. So the teacher concludes that the student has not yet meet the expected competency. Sige nga, ano ito? O, ano ito? Based sa ating sagot kanina. Number 9, ano sagot? O, divided pa rin. Hala. Okay, intindihin mabuti ha. Ano ang score ng student? 68%. Now, the passing standard is 75. So, the teacher concludes that the student has not yet meet the expected competency. Anong ginawa ng teacher? Nag-conclude siya. Hindi pasado ang student. Therefore, this is evaluation. Sige nga, sa mga sumagot ng letter A, bakit yan ang sinagot nyo? Sabi dito, the teacher concludes, yun yung ginawa, huwag ka mag-focus kasi may number. The teacher concludes that the student has not yet meet the expected competency. Hindi pa pasado si student. Nag-judge po siya, nag-interpret siya sa mini-measure niya. 'Di ba ang evaluation interprets the measurement? Okay. Letter B. Conclusion na dito ang focus natin. Evaluation. Nag-judge na siya. Sabi niya, bagsak si student. Hindi na-meet ni student ang expected competency na 75%. May meaning na yung numerical value. Correct. Evaluation na po ito. Next, number 10. Which type of assessment is intended to develop metacognition in students, which is a critical link between assessment and learning? Develop metacognition, yung thinking beyond thinking, thinking about thinking, learning how to learn, coined by Flavel. Metacognition. Asan po dito na assessment? That's of course assessment as learning. Kasi ang assessment as learning, self-reflection, self-assessment, and that is metacognition. We have here assessment for learning. Ano ang purpose niya po? Para magbigay ng immediate feedback, para mag-monitor ng progress ng mga students for learning. Pag of learning na, of learning of, that provides evidence of student learning para si teacher mag-make na ng judgment sa students' achievement against sa goals and standards. So, basically, pag of learning na, kung ano na yung natutunan ng bata. Graded na po ito na assessment. Summative na, no, na assessment. Ang 4, hindi po ito graded. That is for monitoring only, for giving feedback, for guidance, no, sa performance ng bata. Pag assessment as learning, dito na yung mga students, syempre nagre-reflect po sila, no, sa sarili nila. Mino-monitor nila yung sarili nilang mga progress. Halimbawa nito, yung kanilang ginagawang mga journal, yung portfolio nila, yung self-reflection, yung mga reflection paper nila, dito yan sa assessment as learning. Okay? Sige, let's proceed. What is the main effect of removing the mandatory spiral progression requirement? RA 12322. That's the new law. Bagong batas po iyan. RA 12322. What is the main effect of removing the mandatory spiral progression requirement? Number 11. What is your answer? That's letter B. Ano ang purpose, no? For providing depth ed, no? Para makagain ng flexibility in choosing teaching approaches. Kaya, hindi na ginawang mandatory ang spiral progression. Hindi na siya mandatory. Removing the mandatory. Tandaan, removing the mandatory. Hindi po ni-remove ang spiral progression. Ni-remove lang na mandatory siya. Oh, ni-remove yung mandatory, pero hindi ang spiral progression mismo ang ni-remove. So, DepEd gains flexibility in choosing teaching approaches. Ano ang keywords na hahanapin natin? Gains flexibility or simply flexibility. Flexibility. Yan. This is the new law, no, removes mandatory nature of spiral progression in DepEd curriculum. Republic Act number 12322 allows the Department of Education on the flexibility to determine the pedagogical approaches to be implemented in the basic education curriculum. So basically, itong RA 12322 is an amendment of the section 5 ng RA 10533 or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. So, amendment po siya ng Section 5 ng K-12 law. Next, wait, eto muna basahin ko. Ito yung ating buong pamagat 'no, RA 10 ano 'no, 12322. An act allowing the Department of Education the flexibility to determine the pedagogical approaches to be implemented in the basic education curriculum, amending for the purpose of Section 5 of Republic Act number 10533 or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. No? Same pa rin siya, no? Alright. Next, number 12, under RA 12322, the DepEd may select teaching methods primarily based on their ability to. DepEd may select teaching methods primarily based on their ability to, is it letter A, to reduce the number of subjects taught, B, shorten the basic education program, C, promote effective mastery of competencies, or D, standardize all classroom teaching strategies? Number 12. All right, correct. Promote effective mastery ng competencies. Mastery ng competencies, effective mastery. Kasi si teacher ay meron ng say, no? Flexible na. O, bakit may sumagot ng letter D? Standardize all classroom. Hindi nga, flexibility nga itong RA 12322. Flexibility. So, meron ka ng chance na ikaw yung pumili, no? Depending on the context or need ng mga students. Hindi po standardized sa lahat. Flexibility nga ni. Okay? Number 13. Which interpretation of RA 12322 is incorrect? Asan dito ang incorrect? Number 13, okay, ayan na, may mga sagot na, letter C, letter D. Now, the correct answer ay letter D. Spiral progression is completely banned from basic education. 'Di ba sabi ko po kanina, hindi po siya banned. Hindi siya completely nawala. Ni-remove lang na maging mandatory siya. Oh, spiral progression is completely banned from basic education. Alright? Hindi po itong letter C, not letter B, and not letter A. Ang sabi dito, incorrect na interpretation. Alright, number 14. What is the motivation of a person who paints for the sheer enjoyment of creating artwork? Okay, this is what we call intrinsic motivation. 'Pag intrinsic sa sarili niya po, ginusto niya, hindi siya pinilit, personal interest niya. Sabi dito, a person who paints for the sheer enjoyment of creating artwork. Masaya siya na nagpe-paint siya, hindi siya pinilit. Walang external factor. Ang intrinsic motivation driven by internal rewards and personal interest. Halimbawa, nagbabasa ka ng libro kasi gusto mong magbasa, masaya ka, nagbabasa ka, hindi ka pinilit na mag-study. Gusto mo lang nagbasa, no? Gusto mong matuto, gusto mong mag-enjoy sa pagbasa ng mga stories. Yan. You play a sport for fun. Masaya ka, naglalaro ka ng soccer, ng basketball, ng chess, or kung ano pa yung sports mo. pickleball, oh, yan. Sino mga mahilig diyan mag-pickleball. Okay. Extrinsic motivation, external na factors, 'no? May external rewards to avoid punishment, 'yan, yung extrinsic motivation. Sabi dito, reading a book to earn a reward. Nagiging extrinsic na siya. Kasi ang purpose niya kung bakit siya nagbasa, gusto niya maka-earn o 'pag gusto niya maka-earn ng reward, yung reward na yun, that's the external factor. So, ito po ang isipin niyo teachers, kapag may reward, may trophy, external, extrinsic 'yan. Kapag may reward na involved like trophy, medal, may pera na ibibigay, ayan, that is extrinsic motivation. Number 15, which of the following is an example of extrinsic motivation? Sige. Which of the following is an example of extrinsic na motivation? That's letter C, correct. Studying to win a scholarship. Yung scholarship na yun, that's the external factor. Kasi gusto mo makakuha ng scholarship. That is extrinsic. Ang letter A, painting because you love art, of course, intrinsic ito. Gusto mo, love mo, di ba? Personal satisfaction, ang pag-play ng guitar, intrinsic pa rin. Writing stories for self-expression, intrinsic pa rin. Number 16, which contributes to greater learning? Which contributes to greater learning? Sige nga. What is your answer sa number 16? Very good, very good. Letter C, expectations of success is high. Anong example nito? O, habang ikaw nagre-review, expectation mo sa sarili mo, mataas ang board exam rating mo. Actually, ito kanya-kanya din naman tayo. May nabasa lang akong comment na sabi, "Huwag ka maniwala na kaya mo, the higher being daw po ang mag-provide, be humble ka lang." Which is ano din, medyo ano lang din 'no, na-intrigue lang din ako sa comment. Kaya nasabi ko nga depende talaga sa'yo 'no, kasi kapag yung isip mo kasi na kaya mo, and then with prayers, you ask guidance kay Lord, kaya mo talaga, 'di ba? Kasi yung mind natin napaka-powerful. Sobrang powerful ng utak natin 'pag sinasabi nating kaya natin. Kaya talaga natin 'no, 'wag mong i-entertain yung mga negative thoughts na hindi mo kaya. Kaya mo, 'di ba? Kaya mo 'yan. Expect success 'no, expectations of success is high dapat. And that is what we call wala muna dito 'no, nasa next slide. One of the techniques to enhance learning is for the teacher to give high expectations of success to his students. That is Pygmalion effect or also known as Rosenthal effect. In my case, I think, na-apply ito sa akin. Way back nung college, ano na 'no, yung expectation nila ay since mataas yung aking average, so expectation nila mataasin yung rating ko sa board exam. Tapos sabi pa ng dean ng school namin na, "O dapat mag-top ka sa board exam ha." So, in my mind, parang ano siya, pressure siya in a good way. So, ibig sabihin naniwala siya sa'kin, he believed in me. Mataas yung expectation niya for me to succeed in the board exam. And nakatulong din yun to boost my confidence na kaya ko pala. Kaya ko talaga. 'di ba? So, yun yung nasa mind ko at that time, and I think that was Pygmalion effect, Rosenthal effect. So, it's a psychological phenomenon in which high expectations lead to improved performance. Minsan kasi kailangan natin ng a little bit of push 'no, na may magsasabi sa atin na, "Kaya mo, magaling ka, alam mo 'yan." 'No, especially yung mga taong genuine talaga na nagmahal sa atin, na gusto nila na mag-succeed talaga tayo sa board exam. Yung genuine people, yung mga genuine friends mo, yung mama mo, papa mo, 'no, yung family members mo na love ka, 'di ba? Yung partner mo sa life, yung boyfriend mo or girlfriend or your husband or your wife, 'di ba? Yung mga anak mo, 'di ba? 'Yan. So, parang yun yung mga motivation din natin, and although hindi tayo all the time motivated, but it's really important na to stick 'no, sa kanila, yung mga taong gusto natin na masaya, yung mga taong nakikita nila na 'pag nakita nila yung pangalan natin sa listahan ng passers, ng top-notchers, ay alam natin na masaya sila. Yung mga genuine tao na nagmamahal sa atin. So that is Pygmalion effect. High expectations, people often rise to meet their or to meet them or better performance. So when I received 'no, that message, when the dean ng school namin mentioned or specifically approached me and said na, "Kaya mo i-top ang board exam, dapat mag-top ka ha." O ayun. So, parang nag-motivated na-motivated din ako to continue na i-goal talaga ang pag-top sa board exam, and by God's grace, nakuha din naman natin 'no. So that is Pygmalion effect. And puwede din siya itong lower expectations. Ito din masakit ito 'no. Low expectations can hold people back, leading to worse outcomes. So 'pag sa tingin ng ibang tao, "Ay hindi naman 'yan magaling 'no, basta pasado na lang siguro 'yan siya, mediocre performance." Yung gano'n. So sa isip mo, hindi ka na lang din siguro gusto mag-excel kasi yun din naman iniisip nila. So low expectations, it can also hold people back, leading to worse outcomes. Kaya nga tayo mga teachers, napaka-importante ng mga words natin na sinasabi sa ating mga students. Yung mga words of encouragement natin, importante po yun. Yung mga praises, especially sa mga bata, sa mga elementary dito na mga teachers, no? Alam niyo, 'di ba? Na very important yung motivation, especially sa mga bata. O, ayan. Alangan naman nag-college ka na tapos gusto mo motivate mo rin. Siyempre meron, but hindi na gano'n as the same as mga elementary students. So, very important 'no, yung Pygmalion effect or Rosenthal effect. Okay, next. What is the primary purpose of a diagnostic assessment in education? Diagnostic. Ang dami daw po distractions. Sige, laban lang 'no, sa mga maraming distractions diyaan. 17, this is letter C, no? To identify students' strengths and weaknesses before instruction. O kapag diagnostic, laging tandaan ang strengths and weaknesses. Number 18, which law in the Philippines mandates inclusive education for learners with disability? What Republic Act is this? RA 7277. RA 7277, that is the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons. Ang RA 7277 as amended ensures the rights and privileges of persons with disabilities, including their right to education. Kasali yung right to education. That is why masasabi natin na inclusive 'no, yung ating education. Inclusive kasi lahat po ay may right to education. Meron mang, persons 'no, with disabilities, meron mang mga special needs, meron pa ring right to education. Magna Carta for Disabled Persons. Now, the 7836, of course, that's the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994. Ang 10533, ano ito? The K to 12, no? Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 or the K to 12 Act. Ang Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, the DepEd Law, that's RA 9155. Number 19, in PJ's concrete operational stage, which refers to the ability of the child to perceive different features of objects and situations like toughness in stone, elasticity in rubber, and etc. Concrete operational na. Although concrete operational naman to lahat. Which refers to the ability of the child to perceive different features of objects. Different features, pag different features, tandaan, dysentery ang tawag natin dyan. Dysentery po. Bakit kayo nag-seriation? Oh. Sige. Ang seriation, kapag, series, no? Seriation. Series, may arrangement. I-arrange mo from largest to smallest. I-arrange mo from longest to shortest or from shortest to longest. 'Di ba? May arrangement na nangyayari. That is seriation. Ligwak. Ligwak po ang letter B. Letter B, letter B, letter B ang mga sagot ninyo. Karamihan letter B. Arrangement po iyan, ang seriation. Pag different features ng isang bagay, that is decentering. Okay? Sige. Decentering, child takes into account multiple aspects of problem to solve. So, under concrete operational po ito ha, pangatlong stage no sa stages of cognitive development ni Piaget. And then we have here reversibility as well. Concrete pa rin ito. Child understands that numbers or objects can be changed then return to their original state. Yung solid ice, pwede mong ilabas sa ref, magiging liquid water. Tapos ibalik mo ulit sa ref, magiging solid na naman siya na ice. So that is reversibility. Maintindihan na ng bata yan. Conservation, understanding that quantity, length, or number of items is unrelated to the arrangement or appearance of the object or items. Halimbawa nito, yung glass, yung dalawang baso, yung isa wide, yung isa ay narrow, no? So, alam na ng bata na kahit parang mas marami tingnan, no? Kasi tall, yung narrow na glass, na slim na glass, sa tingin ng bata na same amount of liquid pa rin ang nandun, regardless if iba yung shape ng kanilang baso, no? Kahit iba yung appearance nila. So, alam ng bata na same pa rin ang liquid na nandun sa baso. Okay? Now, the opposite of decentering ay yung tinatawag nating centration. Centration, nakasentro lang sa isang aspect. Child focuses on one obvious or salient feature of a situation. That is centration, no? Nakasentro lang sa isang aspect. Ignores other relevant dimensions. So, sa pre-operational po ang centration, ha? Pre-operational. Sabi dito, no? Conservation of liquid task, no? Yung young child, iniisip niya na mas marami dito sa tall glass kasi mahaba siya. And nakasentro lamang siya saan? Sa shape ng glass. Nakasentro lamang siya sa liquid na mataas. Ayan. So, that is centration. Dito sa decentering, so naintindihan na ng bata, ika-consider niya na yung multiple factors. Ika-consider niya yung liquid, ika-consider niya yung height and width ng glass, 'di ba? So, marami ng factors ang kaya niyang i-consider. Okay? Consider multiple aspects. Focus on several aspects of a situation at the same time. Okay? Sige. Another example. For example, meron ka diyaang bag. Let's just say meron kang bag, no? Tapos pag tinanong mo yung bata under pre-operational stage, no, ang edad ay 2 to 7, no, especially ito, 2, very bata pa, i-describe mo yung bag. So, yung bata, ang sasabihin niya talaga, most likely, the color of the bag. Sasabihin niya, red. Red ang bag. O, dun lang siya nag-focus sa one aspect, which is the color of the bag. Yun yung usual na response ng bata at this age. Pag decentering na, malaki na siya, concrete operational, 7 pataas. So, hindi lang hanggang sa color ng bag. I-describe niya rin kung ano ba ang bag na yan, backpack ba or sling type ba siya na bag, malaki ba or maliit ba yung bag, marami ang zippers, sasabihin niya, merong 5 zippers, ayan. Hindi lang nakafocus sa color sa bag. So, yung different na aspect or different factors, no, na, or different situation, different aspect, at the same time. So, that is decentering. So, yung response ng bata at this age, hindi lang nakafocus sa color ng bag. Okay? Sige. Number 20, what is the primary role of the teacher in a constructivist classroom? Constructivist. Number 20, this is letter D. Constructivist po, that is child-centered. Ibig sabihin, si teacher ay facilitator or guide sa side, guide learning. Act as facilitator and guide learning. Remember, constructivist, that is child-centered. Ang letter A, to deliver lectures, provide information, edi teacher-centered na ito. Evaluate student performance through standardized test, hindi naman po yan ang pinag-uusapan, di ba? Teacher pa rin naman ang focus dito, si teacher mag-evaluate ng students' performance, hindi naman ang students ang mag-evaluate. So, hindi siya child-centered. Ensure strict adherence to the curriculum, si teacher pa rin, teacher-centered pa rin. Ang letter D, facilitator, si teacher, ibig sabihin, child-centered ang kaniyang ginamit, no, na ang focus. So, constructivist classroom. 21, what field of education manages children with behavioral problems like attention deficit disorders? Yung bata may ADHD, that is special education. So, special education po, no? Next, what does the term formative assessment primarily aim to do? Formative, that is to provide feedback. Kasi ang formative assessment ay under ng assessment for learning. And pag for learning, to provide immediate or ongoing feedback to monitor the progress ng bata or ng learner. Pag yung comparing the academic performance, so final output na 'to, so sa summative na ito 'no, assign final grade, sa summative pa rin 'yan at the end of the course. To evaluate, mag-evaluate ka sa huli na 'no, so sa final pa rin siya. Ang formative kasi during, it could be before or during. Next, 23, the concept of scaffolding in scaffolding 'no, is most closely associated with which learning theory? Scaffolding. Coined nila Jerome Bruner. Ang scaffolding, yan yung pag-provide natin ng assistance sa mga estudyante. And then, gradually, i-remove natin yung assistance natin dahil kaya na nilang tumayo sa sarili nilang paa. Kaya na nilang maging independent. Oh, that is scaffolding. So, basically, iiwan mo yung student. Kasi alam mo naman na kaya niya na, no? Kaya niya na. And that is under cognitivism. Cognitivism po, no? Lev Vygotsky, siya yung gumamit nitong term ng scaffolding, but hindi siya yung nag-coin nito. siya lang yung gumamit sa kaniyang theory. So, cognitivism po 'yan. Scaffolding where support is gradually withdrawn as learners become more competent is a key strategy in cognitive learning theories, particularly derived from Vygotsky's work. Number 24, in the four phases of curriculum development, which process refers to determining rate of achievement of learning outcomes? Designing ba yan, implementation, planning, or evaluation? 24, this is what we call evaluation. Kasi sabi dito, determining the rate of achievement. Tapos na. Hindi ka na nagpaplano, no? Rate of achievement. Nag-judge ka na, nag-assess ka na. Kasi achievement na nila ang pinag-usapan sa huli na. Sa huli. Tapos na, judge. O ano ba ang una sa phases of curriculum development? Una, magplano. Una, plano talaga, no? A good plan is a work half done. Dapat may plano tayo dapat. Goals, objectives. And then, designing, which is the development stage. Gagawa ka ng material. Yung naplano mo, gawin mo yung material 'no, para ma-implement. Oh, dito sa implementation, use the material na. Okay. In designing a curriculum, which is the component that regulates the weekly, semestral, and annual schedules for curriculum implementation. Weekly, semestral, annual, may time, and therefore, time frame. Yan lang yung ating clues dyan. Weekly, semestral, annual, time frame ang focus. 26. What is an example of a book or writing for moral knowledge of a very young readers? Of the very young readers. Very young. Alangan naman pabasahin mo na ng Romeo and Juliet. Les Miserables. Yung mga themes ay Diary of Anne Frank, 'di ba? Hindi po pambata ang mga themes. Therefore, we will answer Jack and the Beanstalk. Next. According to Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development, what crisis do adolescents, that is 12 to 18 years old, primarily face? Basically, 12 to 18 years old, adolescents, high school. Pag high school, ano ulit yon? Pag high school, that is identity versus role confusion. Sa high school, no, diyan ka na mag-ask sa sarili mo, ano ba ang identity mo? Ano ba mga gusto mong bagay at mga hindi mo gusto? Sino ba ang gusto mo? Ano ba, babae ba or lalaki? Yan, yung mga interest mo sa buhay, diyan ka na mag-explore para ma-identify, no, yung sarili mo, mga kagustuhan mo at saka mga ayaw mo na gawin. And do not forget the Erikson stages of development, the psychosocial conflict between trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, initiative versus guilt. O, nandyan na no, yung kanyang description, yan na po yan. And I know, no, alam na alam nyo na ito, no, since it was already introduced previously, no, sa mga previous natin ng mga sessions, paulit-ulit na lang. So, sana by now, na-memorize nyo na from trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, and integrity versus despair. Okay. Ay, mayroon po pala dito. Hindi nalagyan ng animation. For curriculum change, what occurs when teachers decide to change the curriculum in a short span of time? O isipin mo na lang, hindi mo na 'to nakita. Char. That's the correct answer. Perturbations. Tandaan po, 'pag short span of time, minabilis 'no, mabilisan. Perturbation ang tawag natin diyan. Anong example nito, ma'am? Nung COVID, during the pandemic, 'di ba nagkaroon ng immediate change sa ating pong, curriculum. Dahil thank you po Teacher Lorica, maraming salamat po teacher. Perturbation dahil meron pong immediate na pagbabago 'no, naging modular ang klase, naging online, that is perturbations. Now ano yung mga categories of curriculum change? Tandaan, substitution, the current curriculum will be replaced or substituted by a new one. Nangyari 'to nung nag-adapt na sa K-12 curriculum, ni-replace na yung old secondary curriculum, 'di ba? That is substitution. Pag alteration po, there is a minor change. Hindi binago lahat kasi meron lang maliit na pagbabago. A teacher changes the assessment method from a paper and pencil test to a performance task or uses a graphing calculator instead of a manual graphing paper in mathematics. Merong minor na pagbabago. That is alteration. Now, pag restructuring po teachers, major na pagbabago. Unlike sa alteration, minor lang. Pag restructuring, major na siya, no? Malaki na ang modification. Halimbawa, the university shifts from a 4-year BS Ed program to a 5-year integrated program. May new set of general education courses, merong mga practicum requirements. So from 4 years, naging 5 years. Major restructuring 'yan 'no, sa ating school system. And dito sa number 4, perturbation, ito yung sagot natin, changes that are disruptive, but teachers have to adjust to them within a fairly short time. The sudden shift to online learning due to a pandemic. Yan ay example. Teachers quickly adjust lesson delivery, assessment, and communication. Panglima, ang value orientation, a teacher who gives emphasis on academic achievement and forgets the formation with faith and values needs values orientation. So, kailangan no, ng values orientation. Pag wala ng emphasis on the faith and the values, kasi focus na lang sa academic achievement. So, ang values education program is introduced to realign goals and practices. Alright? Next, number 29. Among the curricula which operates in the classroom, which curriculum is applied in the teaching learning process? Applied, of course, that is taught curriculum. Applied, ano yung tinuro mo, actual na implementation. Applied. Thought, what the teachers actually teach. Pag written, what is stated in the school documents, it is overt, it is explicit, like in the syllabus or in the lesson plan, that's written curriculum. Hidden naman po, that is unintended, no? Not stated sa ating written curriculum, pero natutunan ng mga students. Covered po siya. And we have recommended curriculum, what scholars and organizations propose like yung CHED Memorandum, DepEd Order, yung mga policies na galing po sa international bodies like the United Nations, yung UNESCO, ayan, recommended curriculum po iyan. Number 30. Among the following questions, which is not or least applicable to metacognition? Not or least not or least applicable to metacognition. Number 30, this is letter D. What information have I attained? Kasi dito nagre-reflect na siya sa sarili niyang learning, 'di ba? Tingnan niyo ang ibang options. How will I know if I am learning? It is referring to how will I know? Well, we can apply this also a little bit, no, on the metacognition. But ganito kasi na tanong, not or least applicable to metacognition. So, yeah, tama, tama. Not or least pala, no? Tama pala. So, this is part of metacognition. Did I understand what I just heard or read or saw? Yes. Do I know what I need to know? Yes, part of metacognition. So, ayan, not or least pala, no? Sige. So, what information have I attained? So, dito, ano lang siya. Nag-ask lang siya, very shallow lang, kung ano lang yung natutunan niya. Ayan. So, that's the least sa na-applicable sa metacognition. Letter D. Okay, so not pala na ako din ano din na overlook ko din yung not or least. Pero tama po ang sagot dito ha. What information have I attained? Kasi ano lang siya ha, nag-ask lang siya on ano ba yung natutunan niya. So quite shallow lang. Not really reflecting on ano ba yung dapat pa niyang matutunan or ano regarding sa kanyang learning or yung sinasabi nating thinking about thinking or learning how to learn. The rest, ABCs, metacognition. Okay, ayan. So that ends our session for tonight sa Prof Ed episode 11. And once again, thank you for joining me tonight. And this will be uploaded po as premiere sa YouTube channel. And kindly follow lang, no? And subscribe to the channel for you to be able to watch the episodes mula sa episode 1 until the recent episode. Okay? So, thank you po everyone. Ongoing pa rin yung enrollment on Prof Ed and Gen Ed group. Kindly message our Facebook page to join. Don't forget to leave a comment, leave a message sa atin pong comment section sa YouTube channel, no? To at least no show your support and love sa ating channel. Bye bye everyone. Good night. Good night.